Our friend Anthony Castrovince.
What's not to like? He's tremendous.
He is tremendous. Tremendous writer, friend of the program. He has posted something on MLB.com, and with Anthony joining us, I want to read the beginning of this, Anthony, just to give folks a sense for what you had tried to capture here. To quote the great Dickie Dunn from Slapshot, tried to capture the feel of the thing. Spring training camps open in a matter of days, and that ordinarily means baseball's back and life has meaning and purpose again. But this was no ordinary offseason. And in that vein, you have tried to rank the most unordinary things of this offseason, or at least the biggest stories of this offseason, maybe better said. And if we would all agree that the top story this offseason was the Astros sign-stealing scandal, how would you rank the storylines 2 through 10?
Well, boy, it's hard to get your mind around everything that's happened and prep them out. But I mean, Garrett Cole obliterating the pitcher contract record. Now this Mookie Betts deal, which is of course currently held up, which adds another layer of intrigue to that story. So when you have great players on the move, that's always fascinating as well. And I would say also, and this is an offshoot of the Astros scandal, of course. We've got 10 new managers in Major League Baseball entering the 2020 season. That's
crazy.
A third of the league will have changed managers.
Gosh.
Red Sox are potentially entering camp without a manager, which to the best of my knowledge is unprecedented. You have the not quite unprecedented, but still ultra rare situation, of course, in Queens with Carlos Beltran being named the manager and then parting ways 2 months later. Dusty Baker back in the saddle. That's great to see. But yeah, 10 new managers. And in fact, you go back to 2017 now at this point, there's just 11 guys from 2017 managerial-wise in the same role that they were 3 years ago. That's crazy. So a lot of turnover in the game. That's part of the nature of the beast.
Bad bio.
That was a mistake, actually.
Okay, I was trying to think
Question
of
is,
that.
did they get the right guys? There's 11 left.
Well,
Managers, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean,
and there's still some names on the shelf that you'd love to see get work again. Ron Washington, Buck Showalter. I mean, these guys, Jeff Bannister, all leap to my mind as guys who I think deserve another opportunity at some point somewhere. But yeah, it's crazy the amount of turnover in that particular role.
you could I guess you could kind of make a case for the return of the old guard manager. You could certainly make a case, as you have in your story on MLB.com, for the return of the free agent market. Because there were people watchdogging this in November thinking, they're sitting on too much money, nobody's spending. That couldn't be farther from the truth now that we've hit February.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch that dynamic of how would players approach free agency, knowing how the last two winters played out. You had situations like Jake Odorizzi accepting the qualifying offer, or Mike Moustakas, jumping at the Reds offer. And those are really good opportunities for those guys. But, I wonder if past years kind of played into their thinking a bit. You see where the spending ended up going this offseason. Ultimately, it's a product of two things. Look at that list. 6 of those 10 teams that spent north of $100 million were not playoff teams last year. So when you have teams that didn't make the cut a year ago, making a legitimate effort to improve, that's going to impact the market in a significant way. You also had great teams just getting better. I mean, when the Yankees are a 103-win team and add Garrett Cole at $324 million, no less, that obviously impacts the market for everybody else because, they kind of drive the ship there. So, and then the other thing is just there was just more talent in this free agent period. Last year we harped on Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. We spent all winter and even part of the spring talking about those particular markets, but it was not the loaded free agent class it had been projected to be a few years earlier. A lot of guys signed extensions or got hurt, what have you. So it just wasn't as deep of a pool as we had this year, where we had an inordinate number of guys really coming off great walk years, and that impacted the market in a significant way. It was great to see that process reignited, that pace improve. You still have the issue of players north of 30 who just don't project much in terms of wins above replacement moving forward. They still can get frozen out of the market. We're still seeing that, but the guys who project to have a lot left in the tank got paid accordingly.
Not only have the veteran guys gotten paid on this year's free agent market, but going to the very bottom of the service time equation, and you write about this as well, is a AA player getting a 6-year guarantee in Seattle.
Yeah, how about that? So, we'd seen players, Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert, this winter. We've seen guys get extensions before they even set foot in the big leagues. You go back to Evan Longoria, got extension with the Rays just a few days into his big league career. But we'd never seen this. Now, AA is a new level, literally, for this kind of extension. And, ultimately, I think it's good for the player and good for the team. I mean, if anything that helps the best player be on the field at a particular moment, or what they deem to be their best player in their system at that particular position. Obviously, the Mariners are in a midst of a transitional period anyway. So to go with the kid, he hasn't set foot at AAA yet, but, if they feel he's ready, especially defensively, which they do, give him a shot and see what he's got. And let's take the service time equation out of the equation. Let's not even have that be a factor. His financials, if you want to dig into the financials, as D-Row would say, are set now for
it just sounds so funny that he's going to jump from Double-A to the big leagues because he's ready defensively. Yeah, it's just strange.
Yeah. Yeah,
you got to hit.
Hey,
it's better than the alternative of he has to work on his performance against lefties in day games on Wednesdays.
Right.
Finding reasons to keep a guy down on opening day for a couple weeks.
True.
Yeah. Hey, it's good read, as your stuff always
stuff,
is. Sizing up and absolutely bonkers, to use Anthony's terms, off season. It's been the probably the most fun in terms of the news cycle that we've had in a long time. Not all of it's been good news, but it sure has kept us all on our toes, including you guys at MLB.com. Anthony, as always, thanks, buddy.
Thank you, guys.